Okay. Hi, everybody. We are at 1,825 days, I believe. It is August 1st. We're burning the midnight oil, August 1st, 2025. And Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. In 2020, can you believe it? 1,825 days ago. And his life was taken from him. He was silenced by his chain of command, his cartel-tied chain of command. I would say treasonous chain of command. If you have not kept up with this case, it is shocking. You have to really prepare yourself for this case, how shocking it gets, the betrayal to the highest level, and so we have been working very hard for 5 years to get answers, and so here we are telling everyone this story that is backed by hard evidence. Every day we come on. It seems like every day is breaking news, and today is no different. We did find out breaking news. We did find out. Let's see if this is running and you can hear me. If I'm on, yep, there it is. We come on. Okay, so breaking news. We have found out the woman that was engaged with the director of DPS of the Department of Public Safety, the top cop. They were engaged in some frisky business, handsy business in a parking lot in El Paso. They were caught on camera. And, when you're a top cop and you're wearing your badge and you have your gun on you and you are in your taxpayer funded vehicle, doing some frisky business, handsy, and not part of his official duties, with a woman in a parking lot where people can see you. It's very compromising. He just compromised Operation Lone Star. That's what he did. That puts so many in danger, right? Compromises so many. I mean, it was really a stupid move. Stupid. Um, and who is this woman? Who is this woman to do this, right? To do this along with him. I mean, squarely, he knows better. He's the top cop. He knows better. Jose Sanchez, the director of the Department of Public Safety, he knows better to do what he did. But who is this woman? Because we need to know who has compromised the DPS and Operation Lone Star. And Operation Lone Star is all about this border safety, working with other the National Guards and other LEOs, law enforcement officers, to secure our border. Where who is infiltrating? Is she infiltrating? Is she with Jose Sanchez because she just thinks he's really cool? She just, her heart is pounding? Or is she someone different? Is she have other intentions? That's what needs to be investigated, because she's not just nobody. I'm going to tell you that right now. Her name is Amalia. Well, her name is Daniela Amalia Nungare. Nungare. I hope I pronounced it right. Please correct me. And that is huge breaking news. She's not just nobody. Okay. It's kind of like this whole Nadal Baim thing. He was not just nobody, right? And we will be releasing more and more as we find out. It's very, very stinky, y'all. It's very stinky. And, you know, and it's the DPS that released the videos, the recent videos of Patrick Crusius that also has major problems, right? Because, and we just released it. We're just asking the questions. Why is it in the parking lot he seems to be a different person because of his walk, his they call it his gait, right? His gait, his walk, having the rifle with the black um, magazine in it, right? It doesn't seem like he ever changes the magazine. The next shot we have, he's walking in to the Walmart with a tan magazine, and he has a totally different gait, a totally different walk. He walks with his toes out, right? He walks with his toes out. And you can see that clearly, and we put the link up to the YouTube to watch it. So I think there needs to be, especially with at that time the tan magazines were definitely for military use. We want to know where the weapon came from, where the magazines came from, because look in the video we have him saying he bought it from Yugoslavia. We have him saying, I think it's Gun World or something like that. He has another place. Then we have uh, other audio saying it was like Academy Sports, right? Where did he get this weapon from, right? And the ammunition. We have information that brown tip bullets were found at the scene. Brown tip bullets are military grade. Military grade. The tan magazines are military grade. And then you have the AK-47, which we weren't real sure about that. But you know what? It's special forces. Special forces uses AK-47s. Um, so it's it needs to be investigated if this weapon, if the tactical earmuffs um, came from Fort Bliss, if the ammunition came from Fort Bliss, because Fort Bliss was breached. The arms room was breached. The arms room had a seal on it, right? The gates were breached. We had a 14-year-old girl that was the stepdaughter of a gate guard who was living on Fort Bliss for 4 months, being sold out, being sold, and the worst things happening to her many times a night. 14 years old, probably had a teddy bear, and allowed to live on Fort Bliss in the barracks and then make money off of her, right? And this is a breach of security. Then you have Command Sergeant Major Jake Jakovitz, who is now working for YMCA. He cannot work near children. Okay? He cannot be trusted. He cannot work. They brought in young girls. He told us this to our face. They meaning Clem Coward, Major General Clem Coward and him brought and director Tom Kane, right? Because Tom Kane, director of emergency services, in charge of all the gates, gave the passes for this to happen during the lockdown, and they brought in young girls. We were told how it all happened by witnesses because the gates were shut down at the time, but these girls were allowed to wait there, and cars, civilian cars, came and got them, carfuls of them. We were also told that these girls, very young, were like mules. They would bring in substances to the parties. This was arranged by the command sergeant major and Major General Clem Coward. That's what we were told, that they were allowed to come in. We were also told by General David Stewart, Brigadier General, now Major General Stewart, which he absolutely needs to be stripped from his uniform. Same thing with Clem Coward, with no benefits at all, stripped totally. What they have done is so egregious. It is so egregious. And and he told us that they were having um, audits that of course, we were told the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday, and we were told that they were having audits. The barracks were just full of weapons, flush. That's the word, flush with weapons. Okay, and those weapons were not the ones that the soldiers were supposed to have, and they weren't where they were supposed to be, which was in the arms room. These were in the barracks, and we were told many. So the point is that clearly, and I was on there for 4 months. We lived in El Paso every day, going and talking to people about what was going on. And I'm telling you, the soldiers were shaking. I even videotaped one of the soldiers, and he was just shaking. Okay. Of course, Command Sergeant Major was shaking. Of course, Captain Yoshida was shaking, crying. He was crying. Okay. So this was not normal behavior for for soldiers, right? This was not normal behavior. They were clearly um, very upset, so upset that it would cause them to cry and to shake. And the that absolutely corroborates, and we know for sure with all the hard evidence, that Fort Bliss, the security was breached. The security was breached. That's, you know, and then Richard's unit was infiltrated by cartel. We that is already confirmed and established because of Jonathan, Caleb, and Brees. We give the names. We tell you how it is. It was absolutely breached in itself with cartel. So this these naysayers, like it could never possibly happen, and we have other cases that have been reported where they found gun smuggling, ammo smuggling, equipment smuggling from military bases. We just had a Chinese man that was in um, California arrested with shipping containers full, and they and in the military they call them tactical move storage units. They had shipping containers full of military stuff, from uniforms, everything, stuff. And those shipping containers were the stuff that came from Texas. That has been confirmed. And the stuff that was in there, shipping containers, was going to North Korea. It was going to North Korea. You can look that up. And I should post that again because that's very relevant in all of this, because there are people that cannot grasp that there was a breach in security, and that breach could even allow fuel to be smuggled, weapons to be smuggled, uh, arms to be smuggled, those magazines to be smuggled, equipment like tactical earmuffs, right? Tactical earmuffs could be smuggled, and that this was going on. There is no doubt in our mind that this is like such a high possibility. I would say 98% that this was going on. Okay. And Richard was reporting on it, because we even received information that even vehicles were being smuggled. And so, absolutely, we know there were breaches in the security. We know there was infiltration in the security. We know that the director of emergency services in charge of the entire security of Fort Bliss was compromised. We know he was compromised in a very intimate way with Leilani Hart. Um, and of course, Richard's platoon leader was Dallas Hart. We know that he was absolutely compromised in other ways when it comes to the VA and IDS Pablo and VA disability benefits. Um, this it just seems like that was a quid pro quo deal used for that on taxpayers' expense. So the worst things were happening. So it is not, um, it is, it would be bad of us not to ask, right? Because all the evidence points to it. It points to multiple shooters. It points to military grade weapons and gear. It points to um, an operation that was orchestrated, not some random act. We know that it was that the whole narrative, the whole official narrative is false, right? We know that um, because we have the video that shows one body down. I would say on the outside, there were more bodies down, but one body down inside of Walmart, and that was a German national. Alexander Gerhard Hoffmann wrote, and that just blows up the entire narrative. And we know that Patrick Crusius is totally connected to El Paso in the biggest way. I mean, how did they ever think that they could get away with saying that he wasn't connected to El Paso when it is like, I think it's more of his home than Allen, Texas is. It is, he is so connected in very important ways, like with the DA's office, like with the FBI's office, with like the federal courthouse, with Walmart cybersecurity, with Texas Tech University Health Science Center. That is the biggest funder for El Paso Matters, right? So that compromises Bob Moore in this. He should absolutely have recused himself, but no, he kept it silent. That Patrick Crusius, for the longest time, if it wasn't for us, people wouldn't know that Patrick Crusius's family were the Mayellas and so connected. And that Texas Tech University Health Science Center is the main funder of El Paso Matters. Um, it's it's very, and then to know that DES Thomas Kane was compromised by Leilani Hart, that has her family in the CID there on Fort Bliss. And not only that, but in mortuary operations. And not only that, in Richard's platoon, being the platoon leader. Um, and also in the VA as IDES Pablo, right? Disability benefits. Um, and then for Bill Hicks, he just compromised himself with Leilani Hart too. And we know that he is totally connected to the funeral homes, right? That are running back and forth across the border. And we know that there are hundreds of rotting bodies in this dumping ground there where they were conning people, giving them animal ashes in an urn and saying it was their loved one. Can you imagine how really terrible these people are? They're just so terrible to do something like that. So while their family is rotting, so they can double dip, collect from the family and then collect from USAID, saying that the family member is an unidentified Jane Doe or John Doe, um, and then getting USAID for, uh, the burial or the cremation or whatever. Yeah, that is just so rotten. Just so rotten. So, yeah, that is really the main breaking news um, with the DPS. And then, of course, the other breaking news is Joe Kent. Joe Kent is going to be the NCTC, which is the National Counter, um, like the cartels that were designated, center. So you have to fill in that T word. I don't think I'm allowed to say it. I could get banned. So it's the NCTC, the counter criminal, right? The big T, the counter big T. This is huge for us. He was appointed finally. We've been waiting for that. So that's very, very good news because that directly relates to Richard's case and even the Walmart mass shooting case, but directly relates to Richard's case because, we want our son's remains. We want our son's remains. That's why we've been paying attention. And so this is huge news. And I saw that President Trump was really, uh, you know, asking for us to help him to get his appointments confirmed, get them done, and that they're slow walking it. And they didn't slow walk it for the Bushes. They didn't slow walk it for the Clintons. They didn't slow walk it for the Obamas. But for Trump, they're slow walking it. And so, you know, something is very wrong when you can't, when he was duly elected and huge. They should absolutely honor his administration and put in his administration that won the election. So this is why sometimes people are like, what's going on? It's so slow. Um, it's happening. I can tell you that right now. It's happening. You see that with the release of the I guess inquiry. So yeah, it's all going to or the appointment. Sorry, the appointment that he's already inquired, y'all. Joe Kent is already. He's already. They don't just come in and then start. They're already starting. They land with their feet running. Okay, they land with their feet running. So he's going to be a great help. He is the the soldier, the soldier's soldier. Yeah. And so it's late. It is late. I'm ready. Um, 1 o'clock a.m. Yeah. So Joe can't say a prayer for him and hold his feet to the fire. That he does what we all think he's going to do. And Tulsi Gabbard, I put that link up too because it's very important. So that's huge news today, and I just want to say thank you to everyone. We are working so hard behind the scenes, putting our letters together of all the new evidence that we have been discovering, and inquiries and notices, inquiries. Um, Very important for our country to participate because we are a country of the people, by the people, for the people. And that's why we must be engaged and participate. So thank you so much. God bless you. And please share. Please share. You can be engaged that way. So please share. And thank you so much. God bless.